take us back to the mid-90s. I had my colleague Josh, who was a fraternity brother at the University of South Florida. I was trying to figure out as a marketing student what the heck I was going to do with a marketing degree. I was always a technical geek. I was a gamer. I played around and programmed Apple IIe computers when I was growing up, but I wasn't sure what a marketing major with a technology degree was going to do in the mid-90s. And along came this company interviewing on campus called Anderson Consulting. I didn't know who they were from anyone else, but I had this professor that told everyone in this class there was no way any of us could ever get a job at this company, Anderson Consulting. So that was it. That was going to be, I was bound in this, determined to get a job at this company I didn't have any idea about, called Anderson Consulting. Well, lo and behold, I joined Anderson Consulting. This is 1996. And one of the things they did was to teach you how not just to program computers the way that they wanted you to, but also to indoctrinate you into the culture of the company to help you understand what this big company at the time, 30,000 people were a part of this company. I thought, oh my gosh. And my dad was super proud because he always wanted me to go work for a company that was a big global organization. And so here I was joining this massive organization of 30,000 people. And they sent us up to a college campus, essentially old college campus, in the suburbs of Chicago, in a town called St. Charles. And we went to basically 3 weeks of training. And we started in what are called start groups. And it was about 10 people. Your colleagues, where you learned how to serve clients, work on difficult problems, and also program. So on this college campus for 3 weeks, you get to meet colleagues from all over the world. So you're there challenging yourself to learn a new technology, to help clients, to learn really complex topics. But the thing that's really special about that is that from around the world, people are coming to learn how to work together. And at that time, when you worked at a client, you went to the client and you spent a week. You know, I would wake up Monday mornings, get to Tampa Airport, fly there, and usually Friday night I'd be coming home. And that was the way that we served clients back in the 90s. And very much still happens today. Well, fast forward to the summer of this year, and Accenture, now 750,000 people, is bringing people into Accenture in a way that we couldn't or can't anymore because we can't get people up to a college campus and spend that sort of time together all together from around the world. And so we're bringing people to this moment. We brought 150,000 people in the last year into Accenture via an entirely new technology that didn't exist at the time called virtual reality. And what we're going to talk about today is there's a lot of discussion around the metaverse in all kinds of different facets of our lives in the industry, and there's certainly implications of the technology and the disruption that the metaverse brings. We're going to talk about how we think at Accenture the metaverse is a continuum of technologies and use cases to bring to life for anything from onboarding, which is what we're going to talk about today. And because it's hard to imagine until you see it, I'm actually going to show a quick video if this technology works correctly. I'm going to show you a quick video of what that looks like. But we're just going to talk about how we took a piece of the technology that is known as the metaverse. By some, the metaverse is simply by talking about devices like these, virtual reality devices, an Oculus Quest 2 headset, or augmented reality where you are actually seeing the real world with things projected onto it. And in other cases, the metaverse is, Bill mentioned a great example of games like Minecraft, Roblox, and so many things in between, where the younger generation right now, predominantly, although the three of us are big gamers still today, are going into these virtual worlds, creating environments, creating communities from around the world, and transacting, in many cases with their parents' money, to buy virtual objects and goods, and then trade them, sell them, use them. And we're going to talk about today how that actually relates in so many different venues, so many different industries, and will touch all of us. So the first thing that I'd like to do, just because it will serve as a great foundation for how we talk about this, and then we'll use examples from what we show. Let's make sure that the volume's up. Okay. Maybe not. Give me 1 second here.
There you go.
Okay.
Well, Paul, I love this from Warnke Cafe. This is beautiful. Hey, do you guys want a group photo?
So this is the substance people use flat matter. It's the next generation of egg.
Welcome to Accenture Virtual Reality. This is Accenture bringing forth the power of human ingenuity and technology.
We got over 30 locations or centers of excellence across the globe.
Welcome to our talent town hall.
We're standing in Accenture's Metaverse right now. We call our Metaverse the 10th floor.
Welcome you all to the launch of the R&D Code program.
So hopefully that gave you a good sense of what the start of how Accenture is using inside of Accenture with our near 800,000 people pieces of the metaverse. In that case, what you saw was a series of different types of events and processes that Accenture is bringing to life inside the metaverse. The first one was what we call One Accenture Park. Accenture calls its metaverse, and just to define that term, it's a virtual place that has persistence, that you can bring and experience, you can bring other people from around the world and experience things together for various different things. In the case of what we were doing with onboarding, we were bringing people, like we used to bring them to the university up in, to the college up in Chicago. We could bring people from around the world into a virtual space as cohorts to learn about Accenture. And why would you do that? Why couldn't you just get them on a Zoom or a Teams call and have a discussion like we're having today? Well, one of the things that studies show is when you can bring people into a virtual space together and you can immerse them, where there is a group of people with content and exhibits that they're learning in a very immersive way. In the case of the Oculus sort of experience, there's spatial audio, which means when you're walking around that space, you can hear things around you in 3D sound. So if there was a group of people in that corner over there, you could sort of faintly hear them talking just like in real life, but it wouldn't disturb the discussion that was happening over here. And so when you bring people into spaces like that, where they get to learn things and have experiences, there's a much higher retention rate. In fact, studies show up to 33% more retention of things that you learn inside of an immersive experience. Whether it's a collaborative one like I just described with their onboarding, or if it's an individual one. And we're doing a lot of individual training where we put people into VR scenarios so that they can learn about how to give good feedback to their employees. And they do that in a very safe environment where they're interacting with an avatar, and they go through certain scenarios so that they can learn about different reactions to the feedback you might give, or dealing with difficult clients. So if you go into an immersive experience like that, you'll have a much greater retention of the content you learn because you experienced it in an immersive way. You'll have the mind's eye experience and memory about what you learned. So I can still, in one Accenture park, which is what we call our Metaverse for learning, I can still recall all of the exhibits and exactly where they are in proximity, and I can think about what I learned at each station. Just like if you went to a museum and you had the experience about learning about that piece of history, you can still in your mind's eye remember exactly what that exhibit looked like, versus a 2D experience where you're on video or in a classroom like this, where you don't have that sense of being there and that immersive experience. So that's one of the things that we're doing inside of Accenture with virtual reality. And this is a very early part of what looked like cartoony sort of avatars, is just the beginning of this. And what I think is really interesting is if you compare this to other technologies, I always compare this inside of an enterprise to early days of trying to do things on the internet at the time on your mobile device. Think about the flip phones we all had. I can still remember my Motorola device, and I was trying to check a stock symbol on a WAP browser is what it was called. And you all remember, if you had those devices, trying to plug a stock ticker in. It was like 122 333 44, and then you would finally get to a 3-digit or 4-digit stock ticker. That was early, but we thought that was amazing. We thought, oh my gosh, I could be anywhere and I could check a stock ticker. So if we compare where we are today with the Metaverse to those early days, how quickly we went from that to a device like we all have in our pockets today that has the ability not just to give you that instant feedback, but also to do things like imagine a piece of furniture in your house. Not just imagine, but actually see a piece of furniture by holding your phone up. That's not practical long term to do that same sort of thing, but something more practical will be to have a headset like this. Certainly not like this. No one wants to wear a headset like this for any period of time. But if you can imagine that same technology being glasses like this, we can all imagine this. We can all imagine contact lenses that will have that same capability. Well, if you think about how long ago it was that you were doing that flip phone stock checking and where we are today, it will be a faster pace from that to where we are with mobile phones to what I just described, the future of mixed reality. And so when you talk about virtual reality, you can't imagine yourself ever purchasing a device like this and wearing a device. And many of our employees, although they love the experience, 45 minutes might be the top time they spend in it at any given time. They might dip in and out, but not any longer than that, because if you all come around after and put this on or lift it up, it's really heavy. It's not a comfortable thing to wear. It's an amazing experience if you've not been in one before, but not practical long term. And we don't think, although we bought 60,000 of these for our employees, we don't think this is what the future is, where companies will buy devices like this, because what happened with mobile devices? They all bought their own, and then we connect them safely and securely to the enterprise. The same thing will happen with mixed reality. Everyone will eventually, when Apple announces and releases their device, everyone will go out, or a lot of people will go out, buy them, Google's next one. They'll all have devices like this that they'll want to bring to the enterprise. So I don't think the future is where companies buy these for their employees. This is more likely where the younger generation all has one, if not many, and they bring them to work and play. And that's one of the coolest things about this, the future of this technology, is the convergence between your personal life and your work life in a good way. Meaning, in one moment you're playing games with your friends and family, the next you might be playing games with your colleagues, interacting in meetings with your colleagues, taking training with your colleagues, and that gap, or that line between work and life erases just a little bit in a good way. And I always say that because some people, take that as, I like that hard line between my work life and my play life. But in the younger generations, the concept of playing games with your colleagues, that you might have a meeting, a work meeting over a game, just like in the 90s when they put pool tables and ping pong tables in offices, and that was going to be a way to sort of like loosen the mood and the vibe in an office. Bringing people into virtual space to play games waves together is sort of the next generation of that, and I think more of that happens. The last thing I'll say, and I love open discussion and questions, is the thing that we love about where this is headed is, as opposed to the world we've lived in for a long time and the work that we do, it's very business and tech minded. The creatives were always on the fringe, and now the creatives are right in the middle of the action. And what we're seeing with what we're doing in the Metaverse with our clients, which we're doing a ton. The Disney example is a great one. We helped open a studio lab with them where we're imagining the future of entertainment with Disney in mixed reality. And there's some incredible things that are coming that our kids and all of us will love to play with at some point. But what I love about this is I've got a student that's going to, or the daughter that's going to be an art student, is that those creatives now are right in the middle of the action in business. And it's not a nice to have, it is a need to have in terms of where the future commerce is going as we mix the physical and virtual worlds. With that, I'd love to take questions, and I think we've got